Hey everybody, welcome to episode 62 of If This Car Could Talk. Today we are featuring something you've not seen on our channel before. It's a fabulous 1974 AMC Javelin AMX. And man, once you see this, you're going to want to go out and buy one for yourself. Stay tuned as owner Jim Price gives us the lowdown on this car. Don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you join us every week for our feature car videos. Now, let's go for a ride.
I'm Jim Price. We live in Goodyear, Arizona. We've had the car for 8 years. It's a 1974 Javelin AMX made by AMC. I used to have a car in high school, a Hornet, and loved that car. And then when I was in the military, I had the Gremlin. And I bought the Gremlin for $150 from a guy. And the reason why I got it is when I would go on deployment, sometimes our deployment would last a week, sometimes our deployment would last 6 months. And I parked that car in the driveway or a parking lot. I never had to worry about anybody stealing it. Well, that just made sense. Drove the car like 5 years and then sold it to another airman for $150. Yeah, so we were looking to buy another e-body, which we like, and in the process of looking for e-bodies, we had noticed that the prices had gone up and we weren't having a very good time finding one. I remembered that I drove the Hornet in high school and really liked it, so in the process of looking for a Hornet, primarily a SC360, which had gone up in price too, we found this Javelin in Detroit, Michigan. Liked it, saw it on YouTube, and then went ahead and talked to Patty and said, you know, let's do something different. Everybody has a Challenger now, and you don't see a lot of these second generation Javelins. So we decided to make the move. In fact, we traded in our 2011 SRT8 Challenger and then used the money that we made on that car to buy this one. So we went back to old school. Yeah, so that's how we got the car. The gentleman that owned it before us was using it to drag race. So a lot of the stuff that you see in the pictures, or a lot of the stuff that came with it, is already there. But the car had been sitting in storage for many, many years and was in the process of being converted back to a street car when we got it. So when we had a truck down here to the house, drove it for a while, but it had the tired old racing motor in it, and there was some other things. It just wasn't very street friendly and very fun to drive. So we turned it over to Dan over there at AMC Restorations over there in Peoria and said, you know, what can we do? So we pulled the motor out, rebuilt the motor. While the motor was out, we went ahead and put in upgraded the brake booster. It power brakes, because it had manual brakes, and then did some other stuff to the car while the engine was out, updating that. And it'd take about 8 months to build the motor. The engine has a 7,000 rev limiter. It is a small block. It's a 401 stroke to a 407 with the 850 carb and a bunch of work done to it. So I have a MSD ignition with the 7,000 rev limiter, so it will get up there and go. Obviously got the Ford Warner T10 transmission with the her shifter, aluminum drive shaft. It's subframe, Caltech coilovers. You know, as far as what we've done to it, man, the list is long and distinguished. We replaced the carburetor. We've got new headers. We got pretty much everything underneath. Updated what we could to make it more, you know, user-friendly, street-friendly, because we drive it every day. So, our future plans for the car, we were looking at each other this morning and said, you know, how much time you got? And I think eventually, probably, although the paint's really nice, repaint it. Car came red, and the paint is so nice that, you know, this ruby red Ford metallic pearl, 96 color paint. Of course, when we got it, I think, you know, to kind of, because it was in storage and they were storing stuff on top of it, we had to color sand the paint is an Amaron paint, and it has 6 coats of clear, 6 coats of base. And so we were able to take a couple mils off the paint. So when we got it, we had to color sand it and then rebuff it out, and that's kind of why it's been kind of neat. Like the paint, but kind of notices a few. It's starting to crack and a few other things, but it's for the most part been really happy with the condition of the paint. Whoever did it, prepped the body and everything, did it. And you see the lines. There's no waves and nothing. Everything those lines up nice. Well, since we've had it. Gosh, I guess start from the rear. You'll notice in the pictures the louvers. Those are metal, period correct louvers that we got off of from somebody who in Canada sent them down to us. Had them repower coated, and then the framework is painted the same color as the car. So that made it look kind of nostalgic, old school. We've replaced the mirrors. A while back, we decided to go ahead and go aftermarket wheels, and then because of the stance of the car and the rear end of the car is a DTS Dana 60. Well, the tubes on the Dana 60 DTS are Ford tubes from F-150s. That's how the company makes them. And then you run strange racing axles, which we upgraded. So you can't just buy rims off of an AMC Javelin. So the rear wheels are for Ford, and then the front wheels are for the AMC. And then taped them all off and hand painted them with the testers, the model paint. You know, you'll see the red in the spokes. We hand painted those. So we have 3-inch hooker competition headers on it. That have been color coded to match underneath, and then they go to a 3.5-inch collector. And we used to run the 3-inch and then 3.5-inch out the back. The problem is it was very obnoxious, especially to the neighbors, or if we would go to dinner with it, setting off our neighbors' car alarms, or going into the parking lot and setting off their alarms, especially at restaurants. Because I haul cars for a living, I was hauling. One time I just hauled like a buttload of Corvettes just back and forth, and just I've always liked the side pipe design. But we decided to go ahead and put the side pipes on, and they're 3-inch side pipes. But because the way the side pipes are set up, they come out of the collector down to 2-inch. So just by kind of, compressing the pipe goes into the pipe, and because the pipes are so long, there is no mufflers on the pipe. Kind of baffles as it's going through the system, so it gives it a nice rugged muscle car look, sound. People who listen to it say it's really great. I am so used to it. Even when we had the other very gnarly sound, I didn't ever think it was loud, but everybody else said it was. So probably painted another color, get rid of some of the cracking. In '74, they did not have the Cal hood injection on that, so that hood setup is a fiberglass cap that goes on top, and then I didn't notice when you had the hood open, that's actually a functional Cal hood. And well, it's starting to crack around the sides, and so there's a few things probably do, and then change the color. Those are the original windows. The front windshield we had replaced when we got it because it was up in Detroit, so they were using the scrapers to scrape the windows, so there was a lot of scraping. The rear windows actually been replaced, yes, but for the same reason. They were scraping the rear windows. We need to redo the interior. You'll see some wear on the seats. It's starting to show its sign. So don't know if we want to go custom. We're kind of the custom people. Maybe go custom, but keep some of the AMX wrap around. It's nostalgic to it. So I don't think there's really anything else we need to do. The car's pretty sound as it is, and then keep it up, regular maintenance and stuff. So I don't know, our favorite things about it is actually how it sounds, and then pretty cool when we go to get gas, because we have to gas it behind the license plate. So you're kneeling down to get gas, and I can't tell you how many people, young kids too, to come over and say, why are you putting fuel down there? Is there something wrong? They always think there's something wrong because I'm down there putting, well, that's how they used to put fuel in the cars back then, behind the license plate, underneath the bumper. So it's kind of a conversation piece, strikes up that, and people come over and want to look, let's look at the motor, and then, so you're spending 10 minutes getting gas, and 30 minutes later you're leaving. So that's kind of probably the neat thing, right? Don't be in a hurry if you're driving it around, because everybody seems to want to talk about, oh, my dad had one, or I lived in Kenosha, or I used to build them. That's another topic too, is how many people come up and say, had my first girlfriend in this car, had my first whatever, and drove it in high school, did this, did that, and or I worked or lived next to Kenosha, and we saw these all over the place, and now you don't see them at all. And and they thank us for keeping it like it is, and representing AMC. And that's probably the coolest thing about driving it, is representing the make and the model. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. I've always liked the second gen. I think it kind of depends on what side of the tracks. You have the guys that like the first gen AMXs, and then us guys that with the second generation AMXs. Because we are from a racing background and like the NASCAR racing and the Trans Am racing. For those who don't know, the second generation Javelin was made by or developed with Mark Donahue, Penske, and AMC to compete in the Trans Am series, because they had backseat pony cars, and that's how the Challenger TA was, and the Barracuda and all those guys was to compete against the Camaros and the Cougars and everybody else. So that's kind of why we were looking for a second gen Javelin. So we like the Humpster, the sexy body lines, and then they're very underrated. And when you take a picture of the car, you see how much leg room is in that car. It's got a really big back seat, and it's a lot of leg room. It only weighs 3,200 pounds, so the power to weight ratio on this car is phenomenal. You already know that we drive it pretty much as often as I can. We don't do it too much during the summer because it has no AC. It's very hot. But the engine in the car does really well. I've gotten away with not having to put a shroud in, which kind of cleans up the engine compartment. But on the other hand, because of where we live, the fan wants to pick up some of the dust, so it is a little bit of an upkeep. But very, very fun car to drive.
Thanks, Jim and Patty. Your 74 Javelin is so cool, and we really appreciate you sharing it with our viewers here. Okay, everybody, you know how this works. Part 2 on Thursday is going to be a history of the AMC Javelin. Don't miss it. Be sure to subscribe, share this video with your friends, and we'll see you on Thursday. Be careful out there.